The Toronto Raptors up 3 at that point. However, the TNT cameras did a great job of showing perhaps a double dribble before that dunk. Rick Kamla, Steve Smith, Mike Fratello here, taking you through the postgame of another classic in the 2019 NBA playoffs, and where Toronto could not close at the end of regulation. They could not close at the end of the first overtime. They did close at the end of the second overtime, and there was a key sequence, guys. Lopez has the rock going up for a layup. He's going to tie this game. Siakam flies over for the block, and it leads to a bucket by Kawhi Leonard. That's maybe the turning point of the season for Toronto.
No, just a fantastic play by Pascal Siakam. The recognition to come over, being able to understand his teammate was beat, and to block the shot without fouling. It was a huge play.
The contact that they're looking for up at the top, that was clean. Then the follow-through as both of them crashed and landed there. The NBA officials don't look for that.
No, you're right, Coach. I mean, I think if it was a foul up top or body-wise, the sequence of the shot, you call it. But after you get the block shot, usually it's just play on right now, that's what happened.
Exactly.
I mean, so the Toronto Raptors, all of their fans, just breathe. Start breathing. You can relax now, okay? I mean, because at the end of regulation, you have Pascal Siakam, who played marvelous all game, misses 3 free throws down the stretch. That was huge. You also have 2 dagger attempts by Fred VanVleet. If he hits either of those shots, ball game. They couldn't get it done. End of the first overtime, you have Kawhi Leonard missing that shot. And then, as we said, Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard are able to close it out in double overtime. So many storylines, right? You had Lowry fouling out with about 6 minutes to go in regulation. Norman Powell, great game, fouls out. Giannis Antetokounmpo fouls out. But talk about what Toronto might have learned from failing at the end of regulation, failing at the end of the first overtime, and then finally closing it out in double OT.
Well, they dodged a bullet. They have to love that they just grinded this game out, Coach, and they just played and played and played. And also Milwaukee with their superstar, Giannis didn't play well. Did a nice job of doubling, teaming him and also making it hard. But I think it came down to they're not in this game if Norman Powell doesn't play the way he plays off the bench. Siakam played well. And, again, Kawhi, heavy load for him, took over the basketball game. They did a nice job, Toronto, just grinding this one out.
You've got to answer certain questions, and one of them has to be, you picked up Lynn during the course of the regular season when VanVleet had the injury. Everybody thought it was a great pickup. You got 2 guys tonight who are struggling, 1 of 9, 1 of 11, talking about Danny Green and VanVleet from the floor. That's 2 for 20. Mm-hmm. Why did Lynn not get an opportunity in the game? Is there something? Is he injured? We don't know that, but you would think a guy with Lynn's size, his strength, and his ability to score and score points in bunches may have gotten a shot when you're watching these other 2 guys. And there was a stretch there in the end of the third or beginning of the fourth where Toronto was turning down shots. The game got big, it got tight, and all of a sudden, when Lowry went out, when he fouled out of the game, forget it. You saw guys look at the rim and then think about it twice and pass to somebody else, which led to some forced shots because the 24-second clock had almost run out. So when it gets tight, it's tough in playoff games.
And now, of course, there's injuries to follow in the playoffs. And now we have one with Kawhi Leonard. And I shouldn't call it an injury, maybe a tweak, maybe, I don't know, something. Maybe he's hurt, but plays 52 minutes, 36 points, 8 of those points in double overtime. But on the jam, with 3:13 to go, to put them up 3 in double overtime, he appeared right there in the first quarter. He was going up for the jam, guys. And this is a dunk from Kawhi, the patented one-handed dunk, but something happened to one of his legs on the way up and had to lay it in. And we saw him wincing throughout the game and limping a little bit. This is an issue that we're going to have to watch going forward.
Yeah, and I think so. And I look at it as we don't know what it is, Rick, but we just saw him, like you said, grimacing a lot during the game, not being himself athletically. One time there was a loose ball, and usually whether he gets it or not, he attacks it. Not to chase down guys on the same possession. It's just something that he's laboring. But you saw in his answer, he says this is the playoffs. And I think if I'm a player too, I'm not trying to give the other team information. I'm not trying to give the media information. I'm trying to get this day off, Coach, win this game, and start icing and getting myself ready for the next game if possible.
And he's hoping that next game is a late next game, not an early next game, because he can use as much rest as we see. And I think it was clear to us, we saw a lack of elevation on his part. When he would put the ball down that last dribble before he would go up into his jump shot, He normally elevates up above his long arms, big hands that he has. He gets shots over people. He did not have that soft shot, that touch, because he had no elevation.
It's a great call. And the dunk with 3:13 left in double overtime, when he double dribbled and then got the jam, he might have been better served to hang on to that rim a little bit, right? He jammed it, came down, and looked to maybe aggravate what's going on with one of his legs.
Yeah, it is. And, and the one thing is, I don't want to speculate that his legs. It could be anything, Rick, because just because he's grimacing, you just don't want to say what it is. And I think in that situation in the playoffs, Rick, you're not thinking
There's the double dribble right there.
Yes, and you're not thinking about your injury. You're saying, let me go try to dunk it, and you're going as hard as you can. And then whatever happens afterwards, you can live with it. It's the playoffs. I think for him is if you start thinking about injuries while you're playing in this game, it will throw you off. You just got to play through it, gut it through if you can, and he did, and try to get to right now, which is a lot of ice and a lot of doctors and MRIs and things of that sort.
Now remember, you hang on the rim without anybody underneath you, it's technical foul. So you got to be,
Coach is making sure he's saying, hey, don't hang on the rim.
What about the safety of our ball players, though, Czar?
Well, if there's nobody there should be no safety factor they're worried about. I know, you just want to get them a little soft landing. That's what you want.
Yeah, and then, Coach, this is hard because you don't know what Mirotic is going to do. If he's going to challenge the shot, you don't want to go up for a layup. You got to go to dunk it.
Yeah, and he did, and he scored. It was a huge basket, put him up 3 at the 3:13 mark of double overtime. Obviously, throughout our hour or whatever we're on the air here, coaches, players coming to the podium, and we will have live and uninterrupted for you right here on NBA TV. Pascal Siakam, we have to talk about his ball game here. 25 points, 11 rebounds. The block that really saved the season on Brook Lopez. He had 3 steals as well. Czar, tell me about what impressed you most about what Pascal Siakam did today.
The 2 guys that we talked about going into tonight's game that we said were going to step up and show up tonight were Marc Gasol and Siakam, and both of them did their thing. We saw Gasol early on hit 2 threes. He had a block shot, made a couple great passes, and from the beginning, Siakam was in attack mode, off the dribble, going right at them. His footwork on the inside, terrific there, doing a little bit of up and under move. You just saw a different mentality by this youngster coming into this game.
And was that it was more of an attack mentality as opposed to a jump shot mentality, right?
Without question. Everything was off the dribble. Everything was driving to the basket, not settling. But then, to follow up, he hit 2 huge threes when they opened it up there in the third quarter for a while.
Yeah, and I loved it. I think Coach said it best. I think not only was he in attack, he wasn't thinking. He was just playing basketball. He was in a groove, and a lot was Kawhi guarded Giannis on a lot of plays. I think they took turns, gave him some rest, gave him some legs, and he just had a better approach to the game the way he was playing.
What does this say about Marc Gasol? Blamed the loss in Game 2 on himself. He was absolutely terrible in the first 2 games in Milwaukee, put it on himself, and came out here, and it was a masterful game. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 blocks for Marc Gasol. What does it say that he's able to have just 2 clunkers and respond with a masterpiece like this?
Well, he's a veteran, and he has talent, and he's an unbelievable talent. The thing is, I've been looking at Marc Gasol has been his confidence, and that's hard because you look at a veteran that's been around, and the reason why I say that, he's such a good basketball player. Seems like he hesitates on all his decisions. On his shot, he's not really shooting. He's kicking guys, kicking it back. When he was taking those first shots in the first quarter, Coach, he was not thinking. It was almost, I'm shooting it as the passes come.
He hit 2 early threes, right.
And then also, Mark's so good. If you go into that motion, players or defenders read it. He can pump, they can pass. I think the hesitation these last 3 or 4 games up into this game is what got Mark and not in his offensive rhythm, Coach.
By making those first 2 threes in that first quarter, the next couple times he just brought the ball up to show it. He had 2 blow-by dribbles past them where he was able to either kick out to a teammate or try and attack the rim. And then, though, he got a little hesitant there, so he went back to it in that second half where he turned down some shots because he was reluctant to shoot the basketball. And this is, a team on the verge of going down 0-3 that all of a sudden they see the game tightening up. And when that leader, Lowry with the ball in his hand, who can attack the rim and was making threes tonight, when he's gone, somebody's got to step up.
Here's Coach Nurse, who did not change his starting lineup for Game 3.
On a Fred in a row, 20 minutes on a Mark in a row at the end. What do you just say about those kind of players?
Well, I think just in general, Doug, we played with a much tougher mindset, right? And I thought we were kind of gritty, and we didn't really have much choice there. Those guys had to roll those minutes, and they they kept on playing and fighting and doing everything they could to keep us in the game and make plays.
Mike Ganter on the right.
Nick, back here. Before the game, obviously, a lot of people were thinking you were going to make some changes, and you kind of hinted that you might make some. Everybody seemed to be of the opinion that it was going to be personnel changes. What made you stick with what you had?
Well, I said lineup changes. I didn't say starting lineup changes. So we played a lot of different lineups tonight, and we changed at least 3, if not 4, of the matchups to start the game. So, and then, we brought Norm in early and Serge in early, and we went big. We never did get to really small, but we were playing, caught a lot of different lineups because of foul trouble and double overtime and all that stuff. So I think some of those changes were pretty good to us. But again, we just played a lot tougher, man. We were up guarding, and we were physical, and we were ready to play tonight.
A lot of questions that are all basically about Kawhi here. He seemed like he was favoring his leg at the beginning. Do you have any update on that? And what can you say about both his defense on Giannis and the way he defended all game, basically?
Yeah, I think first of all, his defense was probably the biggest key of the game, right? I think he made not only did he just play good, right, but he made some huge plays with some steals and ripaways and breakaways that were, offense was hard to come by there for both teams for a while. And anytime you can get a steal and a breakout, it's like, a huge momentum play. But yeah, he was good. I think he's okay. That was a lot of minutes, but I think he's okay.
Over on the right.
Dan Weinke with the Los Angeles Times. Along those lines, he shatters his kind of career high in minutes tonight by I think 7 or 8 minutes. How tired was he down the game? It looked like every time he could get a blow to the bench, he was taking advantage of it.
Yeah, there was only one time when he looked really, really tired for me. We had a timeout, and I asked him if he wanted a quick one. I can't quite remember when. It seems like it was midway through, I think the fourth. It was about 6 or 5 something to go in the fourth, and he said he was good. And then we kind of decided that if Giannis came back out on the floor, he'd stay in, and if Giannis stayed out, he'd take a little break. But Giannis came back in, so he said, I'm ready to roll.
Coach John Schumann.
He's probably pretty tired right now, though. I'm pretty tired.
Defending Giannis is a 5-man job. Is it any less of a 5-man job if Leonard is the primary defender there, like he was tonight?
No, it is. It's a team. It's a team deal with him, right? But again, I thought. Listen, Kawhi did a great job. You guys watched the game. He was up and not, again, giving him quite as much runway to get flying off of. But so were the other guys that ended up on him in a switch or different parts of the game. They were all a little bit more locked in. Again, we took steps forward to get physical. The other night we were backing away from everything.
Nick, Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun. Considering what you went through all season, not knowing when he was going to play, how much he was going to play, how much you were going to play him, the whole load management thing, can you put into perspective what tonight was?
Well, I think Steve is like, it never during the season bothered me one bit, right? We started with a plan that we thought was really sensible because he hadn't played in like a year or something like that, or played very little, right, in a whole season beforehand. So we trimmed his minutes, we trimmed his games, we left him out of back-to-backs, and that was only kind of the plan at the beginning. And then we were doing okay and picking off some wins, et cetera. So we were maybe able to load manage more than we were originally planning, and it seemed to be going good, and we go from there. But you guys have heard his famous line that he said these first 82 games are just practice. And I thought we were going to see another gear out of this guy, and I think the load management and all that kind of stuff helped, and we'll see.
Coach Steve Brotherston, Pro B-Ball. we saw through the Philadelphia series a lot of games with low shooting percentages, more grit and grind than anything else. Is that the team's identity that you formed in the playoffs?
Well, it looks like it is, right? I'm not so sure that's who we were a lot of the season, right? We were kind of spraying and shooting well, and I think we were the number 1 3-point shooting team in the league after the Gasol trade and stuff. I still think we're creating a lot of good shots. I'm still hoping some more of them go in. I think they will. But we are pretty gritty on D. So we are playing. I mean, when we played it here for 2 of the 3 games, our defense has been darn good, and that gives you a chance no matter how well you shoot it. I think we turned it over a lot in the second half, and that hurts your defense, right? You just don't. There's no defense for that. So we're gonna have to do a little better job of taking care of the ball if we want to give our defense a chance.
Last question.
Nick, to your left, Reed Forgrave with CBS Sports. You spoke before the game about being aggressive, especially on their rim protectors, their long rim protectors. Is that more just a mentality, or is that a schematic thing for you?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think you don't really have, you always, I always say offense is about creating space, and if there's certain areas of the floor that are crowded, you got to move to the free areas, and with Lopez in the paint.
Thank you.
A lot. When Lopez in the paint, a lot. Rovin, you in a hurry?
What?
All right. You got to go to the move to the open space and take advantage of it. And tonight, again, I think our mentality was just better tonight. Our feet are ready, our hands are ready, and like you said, our mentality was a little bit better to go ahead and pull the trigger. Good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You ready, Rovin?
Mike Fratello can tell you never interrupt the coach at a post-game press conference. Isn't that right, Czar?
That's exactly right.
All right, highlights of the Game 3 double overtime victory for the Raptors. And here's where it all began in terms of the conversation about one of the legs of Kawhi Leonard. And I don't know, Smitty, if he tweaked something on the liftoff, on the landing. What do you see there?
You're not sure. I think more on maybe it could have been on the plant or the takeoff, but you can see he was wincing and not sure what it might be. Looked like he was clutching somewhere down the lower area, but don't want to speculate.
Marc Gasol off to a very good start, spinning here on Ilyasova and a sick pass to Siakam and one. Mirotic wants to travel, no dice. Toronto takes a 16-5 lead. Then Gasol finds Norman Powell, and Czar, he was huge.
Not only was he finding people, he went down in the low post for a while tonight, which caused some problems and created shots for teammates.
At the end of the first quarter, the only man in double figures was him, Norman Powell, with 10.
Huge.
Finished the game with 19.
Huge.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, Euro-stepping or traveling?
7-footer with the slow Euro step.
Look at Jeremy Lin is demonstrating that he thought it was a travel. What do you guys think? Bucket or travel?
I thought it was a travel.
That's a travel. The 3 steps and no dribbles, that's a travel.
Here's Kyle Lowry, top of the key, right between your eyes, and then Kawhi Leonard. Oh, the crossover. He knocks down Brogdon and Giannis. That's a Smitty moment.
Yeah, a little bowling ball action on that one.
Toronto led 58-51 at halftime with a long way to go.
Don't give him a Smitty.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris Middleton.
I mean, he had the bucket at the end of regulation to tie it, but that was sweet. And then Bledsoe to Malcolm Brogdon. So clutch.
Brogdon, a terrific shooter, and from the beginning of the game, he came in and was very productive for them.
The best buck on the court was George Hill. We talked about it watching the game. You see Kawhi looking on there. We go to the fourth quarter after a Giannis turnover. Van Vliet get it to Kawhi. And number 2, stops on a dime and cans
nice
it free.
job in being able to extend his range and being able to have confidence of freezing the defense and knocking that one down.
5 minutes to go.
Brook Lopez.
We get an and one from Brook Lopez. He made the free throw. And then
that was a great cut, Coach.
A great cut because of overloading on one side of the floor. Instead of staying in the spot-up area, he took the seam, dove right through there for it.
George Hill tied it at 88. Kawhi Leonard unties it at 93-91. Then Brogdon driving. He quick shots it over Kawhi Leonard. Made it a 2-point game. Major issues for Pascal Siakam down the stretch. Misses 2 crucial free throws. He was 1 of 4 from the free throw line in the gut of the game there at the end of regulation, and a big reason why this game went to overtime. Middleton driving baseline, blocked by Danny Green, got it back, scores to tie it at 96, 2.2 to go. And then Smitty, what was this?
Yeah, I didn't like the execution on that play. No screen and rolls for anybody and no picks to get your best player to basketball.
No screens at all.
Nope.
So Giannis at the free throw line with the miss, the tap out. And then Giannis to George Hill. And Coach Bud had just taken Eric Bledsoe out. George Hill comes in, big three to tie the game at 99. And then Kawhi Leonard, step back, Siakam fights for the rebound. And he scores. Big buckets are.
And big footwork that time. So got up there with those long arms, showed it, came back through, got the layup.
Milwaukee tied the game on free throws. Kawhi with a chance to win it at the end of overtime. And Drake is bumming. We go to double overtime. And Smitty, did Giannis Antetokounmpo deserve a foul call on that?
He was moving. I thought the referees might have said it was a push-off by Siakam, but it was a tough call. They made the call, and he fouled out on that play. And that's huge. Look at Kawhi being able to finish.
And then Kawhi Leonard with the major steal here on the miscommunication between Middleton and Brogdon. He gets the run-out lay-in, and Drake was he waving bye-bye to the Bucks, a la Lillard to the Thunder at the end of that series?
Somebody was waving bye-bye.
But they're down 2-1 in the series.
It's all right, he won this one.
118 to 112. The Raptors win a classic. Leonard with 36, 8 of them in double overtime. George Hill leads the Bucks with 24 points and 7 boards. Here's Coach Bud at the podium.
Tough game. Feel like we gave ourselves several chances. We weren't able to get over the hump. Give them credit. As a group, they played well. A couple guys really stepped up for them. So I think there's lots of opportunity for us to look and look at how we can get better collectively, how we can be better going into Game 4. So, I think we look forward to that.
Eric Name, The Athletic, on your left, bud.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm just curious, how do you think their change in matchups, obviously, they kind of switched their defensive assignments around, Kawhi on Giannis. How do you think that affected you guys?
Well, obviously, we didn't have a very good offensive game, so I think you should always give them some credit for, their defense and whether it be just the matchups or their defense in general. They were active, and I think we've got to make, when we have good opportunities, you got to make them, and we didn't probably make enough of our good ones, and I think we'll be better in Game 4. Giannis, everybody, so. Looking at the film, I'll probably have a better to be able to answer that better.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. When it comes to Giannis in particular, what do you think it was that made things so difficult for him to get going?
Well, they're double teaming him a lot. They're pissing a lot of people, a lot of bodies at him, and I would say what he's done all year, and my guess is what he did today is he's sharing the ball, he's making the right read, he's making the pass. And we probably got to shoot it a little bit better. We got to drive it a little bit better. Maybe we can create more space for him. We'll look at all those things. But, I think when somebody's committed to getting the ball out of his hands, we feel great about the shooting around him and the players around him. And hopefully we can make teams pay. And, we were right on the cusp of winning a game when we didn't play that well.
Stephen Lung, over here to your left. Stephen Lung, Sportsnet. Coach, you guys had numerous opportunities, I guess, to kind of take the lead, take control down the stretch during the 2 overtimes and in the fourth quarter. So would you define when Kyle Lowry fouled out kind of one of your, maybe your best opportunity to ultimately take control of the game?
We were just scrapping and doing everything we can to be 2, 4, 6 down. We were playing from a deficit all night, so whether Kyle Lowry was on the court or anybody was on the court, I don't know that we really had a chance to take control of the game per se. We had a couple opportunities where maybe we could go up 2 and different things like that. But we were scrapping from behind the whole game, and we didn't just make enough plays when we needed to, and that's how it goes.
Game Pittman with the pick and roll, bud.
Chris Middleton's got such a difficult job defending Kawhi, and again tonight he was 11 for 25. But offensively, is there how much do you think that is taking out of him on the offensive end? And is there a way you can try to get him some easy looks or get him going?
Yeah, no doubt. Chris has got his hands full. It's a tough cover. I think he's so locked in defensively. The thing we'll bounce he and Malcolm back and forth between guarding Leonard. So hopefully, Chris isn't bearing the entire brunt of that. And then offensively, again, like I said, I think defensively they're doing some things well. Give them credit. And occasionally Chris or just us in general, we've got to make some more open looks when we get them, because they're going to make it as tough as they can on Chris.
Eric named The Athletic, but you see George have that big game off the bench. Eric struggling a little bit. Is there anything Eric can take from the way that George is attacking or anything like that to kind of get himself going?
Yeah, I think they're such good friends. They spend so much time together, away from the court. And I think Bled is always, when George plays well, he's like his biggest fan. And I think, I think George is playing with a lot of aggressiveness. Like you said, he's playing with a lot of force and attacking. And I think when Bled does those things, that's when he's at his best. And so, I think just like the entire group, I think Bled will be better on Game 4, and got a lot of confidence.
Coach, right here. Louis Zatzman, Raptors Republic. Sort of a follow-up to a previous thing. Giannis finished with 7 free throw attempts, 0 entering the fourth. Seemed like a lot of physicality. Did you think that had anything to do with Leonard's defense, or was it just a fluke in the game?
No, we always give credit to our opponent. I think whether it be Leonard or whoever else it was, or the guys that were coming to double team him, they were good tonight. Feels like Giannis could get to the free throw line more. You mentioned the physicality in your question that at some point those should be rewarded with some free throws, but they weren't tonight, and so Giannis is going to have to go with more force, play harder, or and I don't want to say smarter, because my guess is we'll look at the film and Giannis made a lot of great passes, made a lot of great decisions, but as far as getting to the free throw line, he may have to play with more force.
Eric, last one. Coach at the back here, Eric Smith, Sportsnet. First 2 games, it seemed like you guys did a pretty good job of containing Marc Gasol, and he really struggled even after the last game, sort of taking the blame in many senses. Seeing a couple shots go down early, do you think that was what got him going? Did he do anything different tonight that you guys couldn't keep up? He was draining shots and making plays, moving the ball. What did you see from Gasol?
He's a pro. He's a great player. I'm sure, him taking responsibility. It's never one guy's, but it just speaks to his character, and he came out and had a great game tonight. He's a big reason why they were able to win. So can we track him a little bit better? I'm sure we can. Hopefully limit some of his looks, but we're doing a lot of things to limit guys, and at some point, players are going to get shots, and they're going to make them or miss them. And tonight, Marc was good. He made a lot of shots, and hopefully we can be better on him Game 4. All right, thanks.
Coach Bud with a lot of praise for the opponent, the Toronto Raptors. They beat the Bucks in double overtime, and it is now a 2-1 series. Pascal Siakam will be at the podium in moments, so stick around. This is Game Time.
Keep up.
Toronto needed their others to step up. This guy did. Norman Powell, 19 points, and look at him at the podium.
Questions for Norman. At the back there, please.
Norm, Zarita from ABC International in the back, right here. No. In your career, some of your best games have been against the Bucks. What do you think it is about this team that brings out the best in you?
I don't know. I just try to go out there every game, no matter who the opponent is, and try to make a positive impact to help the team win. That's all I can say about that. I just try to give myself for the team, whatever situation or role it is, and go out there, provide energy or spark off the bench, and do whatever it takes, the little plays, to help the team win.
Eric, at the back and to your left, Norm standing up.
Norm, similar to the last question there, Eric Smith, Sportsnet, just the impact that you were able to have tonight, that Marc was able to have. First couple of games, it was a struggle outside of, Kyle and Kawhi. what does it say about your depth on this team that was so good all year that's, had some issues at times in the postseason that you guys were able to rise up in this game?
I mean, we still have excuse me, we still have a deep team. Game by game, some guys might struggle a little bit hitting shots, but over the course of the season, guys are going to hit those shots. Guys are going to make those shots. And I've been talking to Mark just to tell him to keep shooting it. Those are the shots he makes. Those are the shots he made a career off of. And just to stay after it. And on the road a little bit, we struggled a little bit just to get our pace and our intensity on the offensive end. I think we let their defense really take us out of what we normally do in the first 2 games, and we were able to come out and set the tone and push the pace and bring that intensity and be able to be aggressive and attack the rim and take the open shots with confidence.
Fourth row into your left here, Norman.
Reed Forgrave, CBS Sports. Kawhi played a career high, I think, 52 minutes and was at his best in overtime. Can you put into perspective what it means to you when you got a guy like that you can rely on in the biggest moments?
It's amazing, what he's been doing for us all year, especially in the postseason. It's been really good for us. He's a guy that all he wants to do is win. He doesn't care about the accolades, the points. As long as he's out there helping the team win, that's good for us. We feed off of that, and he's a great leader for us. And to be able to go out there and play 52 minutes and lead the team with his voice in the timeouts, telling us to stay calm, stay in the moment, not get anxious when they went on runs. It's amazing to have a guy like that on the team.
Anyone else?
Norman Powell, you were huge in Game 3. Giannis Antetokounmpo was not. He was in Games 1 and 2, averaging 27 points with 17 of 36 overall from the field, just 5 of 16 in Game 3, only 12 points. He did have a playoff career high 23 rebounds, but he fouled out. He had 8 turnovers. It was not the best stuff from Giannis, and here he is in the locker room.
Obviously, they changed their matchup. Try not to think about it too much, but whenever I try to make a play, I saw they were showing bodies. They were sending a second guy there. But at the end of the day, I gotta, not focus, who is guarding me and just, keep making plays.
How much do you think the turnovers you guys have were forced by them, and how much do you think that you guys were just maybe not making the right plays at certain times?
Obviously, it wasn't our best game. We were turning the ball over. We were, trying to get back to the game, and we calmed down and throwing the ball over. There were some that were forced by them, but there were some that we just wasn't focused enough, and we didn't execute well enough.
Did you feel the frustration in the second half and in OT? There was 34 to 35 times when you guys were just 4 points away from either tying it up or taking it away. What was that frustration like? You get there and then all of a sudden either they call a timeout and then they take a run and you guys never get there.
Definitely. I don't think as a team we felt any frustration. Obviously, we want to get back to the game, but they were just playing better than us. Whenever we got close, they were, hitting some shots, taking the lead back to 7 or 8. But at the end of the day, it wasn't our best game. We can get a lot better, and that's for me that makes me really excited about the team. And we got to come back, focus in Game 4, and try to set the tone from the beginning.
You mentioned the physicality and all the bodies. You go into the fourth quarter with no free throws attempted. Do you feel like you need to be more aggressive to try and get those goals?
Yeah, definitely got to be more aggressive. But at the end of the day, I got to make the right play. I think, as Giannis and as a team, we made the right play, and obviously, coming to Game 4 with the same situation, I'll try to be more aggressive.
Do you take anything from the fact that you mentioned you guys didn't play your best game, you still took them to 2 overtimes?
Yeah, that's says a lot about this team. Me, Chris, and Bledsoe had 11 field goals made. Out of 46, shot 46 shots, made just 11. And guys step up from the bench. They were making big shots. They were coming. They were contributing. I think everybody did a great job. Pat came in. He played 11 minutes. He was focused. He played defense. He knocked down some shots. Of course, you hear that Malcolm did a great job. Brooke was playing hard tonight, making shots, getting easy one in the paint. But at the end of the day, we didn't have our best game. But obviously, our team is special, and even though their leaders had a bad night, they were able to send this game in double overtime. So, as I said earlier, I'm excited about this team. This team is really special. I'm glad that I'm part of this team. Everybody's really, really hungry, and we got one more game here in Toronto. Game 4, we got to come out, be aggressive, try to eliminate our mistakes as much as possible. Try to make that stuff as we can on Kawhi, and hopefully we can win the game.
Giannis, you got to look at it still that you guys are still in charge of the series. You're up 2-1. They may have got you tonight, but you're still in charge.
Yeah, we could be up 3-0, double overtime. We didn't play well, as I said, but at the end of the day, we still got the lead, and it's not going to be easy. I've never been here before, and obviously I never expected it to be easy. Coming to Toronto and steal the game right from the first game. But at the end of the day, we got to keep doing our job. And as a team, usually when we face adversity and we lose a game, usually we come out and play way better. And hopefully we can do that for Game 4.
With your teammates seeing you're having a tough night, how much did you notice them either trying to pick up the slack or trying to do things to sort of get you going more?
Who?
Your teammates. Did you see your teammates either trying to?
It's not about me. I don't think that trying to get me going as much. But obviously they talk to me, tell me to be aggressive. But at the end of the day, we stick in our game plan. Some days you're gonna have a bad night. But at the end of the day, my team has got to focus in their job, and I'll do mine.
Your scoring is limited, though. How do you look to actively impact the game in other ways?
You can do it. There's a lot of part of the game that you can impact the game. You can rebound the ball. You can make the right play. You can impact the game defensively. There's a lot of things you can do. It's not just about scoring, but obviously my teammates want me. My team want me to score the ball. But as I said after Game 2, it's not going to be about scoring. It's going to be about making the right plays. It's going to be about making my teammates involved. And when the time is right, I know when I got to take over.
Eric Name's last one.
So that sixth foul, can you kind of walk me through what you saw on that play, what you're thinking, and kind of what happened?
I saw Siakam driving the ball right. I thought I was in front of him. He called blocking foul. Maybe my feet. I didn't see the replay. So maybe my feet was in the whatever you call it, the circle in the paint. But if my feet wasn't in there, I think it was an offensive foul because I was there like a second earlier than him. But I cannot focus on that. That did not cost us the game. There's so many things that we can get better, and we will get better, and we're gonna come out in Game 4, and we're gonna be us. We're gonna be the team that we've been all year.
Thank you.
Good stuff from the humble and classy Giannis Antetokounmpo. Brogdon and Hill combined for 44 points.
Came to him with the pick and roll. George, it's hard to really recall a night where the starters have, as a collective, struggled to sort of get buckets through the whole night. Would you put that down to some of the matchup adjustments the Raptors made, or what did you see was a major contributor there?
I'm not sure. We don't really worry about, guys making shots or missing shots. It's just one of those games where they didn't make them today. We have the utmost respect and belief that, the next game is not going to be as bad as it was. But, I know it's sitting in their head that they go for a combined 11 or 48 or something like that. So we're not worried about it. We know they're going to come to play next game. They're super competitive. They're super professional. Just keep moving forward.
Really for both of you guys. Toronto throughout the playoffs has
basically running the second best defense to your defense through the first 2 rounds. Should we be expecting more games in this series to be fought this closely, this tough?
I don't know. I know we're going to step our level of play up. I thought we came out, went through the motions a little bit, got ourselves down, and it was sort of a hole we couldn't really dig out of the whole game. So our energy and effort will step up. Our defense will step up. Our rebounding, eliminating their second chance points will step up.
Malcolm, just more Giannis specific. It looked like it was a pretty physical game tonight, and there was a lot of physicality in the paint. Is there a way that you guys can try and free him up a little bit, or how can you try and make life easier for him, I guess?
I think the only thing we can do is really just make shots. We could have made more shots for him tonight. Giannis is the MVP of this league. He's had the best season in the NBA this year. We're not worried about Giannis bouncing back from this one.
And just for you, specifically 36 minutes tonight, it's been steadily climbing. Obviously, that's the most you've played in a long way. How did you feel out there, and just in general, how's your body feeling after these first few games?
I feel great. I feel as though my role has been to come in, bring a spark, be the fresh legs on the team, bring energy. And I feel like I've done that to the most part. But, we lost the game tonight, so I think all of us have a bigger role to play and more to do.
A couple of focus players right there, George Hill and Malcolm Brogdon. They were sensational, and so was Kawhi Leonard. 36 points, 8 in double overtime. We will not hear from Kawhi tonight, at least at the podium, but we will hear from Pascal Siakam for Kawhi Leonard. He made 11 of 25 shots for his 36 points. And Smitty, as you take a look at the shot chart right here, what are you seeing about hot and cold from Kawhi here tonight?
Well, I'm seeing he's getting a variety of shots from a lot of different places. I love to see that green at the basket a lot. He's just a fantastic player, and obviously sometimes the defense is dictating what you get, but he comes out and goes 12 for 13, 36 points, 9 and 5, and 2 for 4 from the three-point line, and grimacing. Just a fantastic night for Kawhi.
The second best player on the Raptors, Pascal Siakam, 25 and 11. Here he is at the podium.
Joseph.
Pascal, Joseph Picharo, the scorer, to your left. Just wanted to ask you, when you missed those 2 free throws at the end of regulation, A, what was going through your mind, but also how do you then, I guess, balance the desire to almost want to do too much to make up for that after and just stay within yourselves and keep playing your game?
It's tough. Those are shots that you practice and you think about every day, and just being out there, just you kind of like at that moment, you kind of mad at yourself and just mad at yourself. And then I think my teammates did a good job of just kind of like calming me down. Mark, Norm, everyone, Danny, just talking to me and making sure that I stay in the game and I understand that I got to stay in the moment and next kind of like play mentality. And and then after that it's like we're in this together, and at the end of the day, I got to do everything to make sure that our team comes out, with a win. And for me, that was just my mindset out there, after that. It was tough at the moment, right away. Kind of mad at myself and down a little bit, but my teammates helped me out and just talking to me, and then just kind of snapped out of it.
So we're going to Lewis, who's on your right-hand side there, Pascal.
Lewis Atzman, Raptors Republic. Pascal, were you happy to pass up the Giannis duties to Kawhi tonight?
Huh?
Looked like Kawhi took over as the primary defender on Giannis.
I think we just want to, kind of give him different looks. A player as talented as he is, you just got to continue to do whatever you can do to kind of slow him down. Everyone was guarding him, just making sure that, we keep different matches on him and somebody always fresh on him.
To Eric, who's standing up to the left at your back here.
Pascal, Eric Smith, Sportsnet. Heading into the game, there was a lot of talk about potential changes, whether it be changes to the starting lineup or the rotation or otherwise. Then Kyle fouls out in this game as well. What does it say about your depth that even outside of the scoring that you and Kawhi were doing, that Marc Gasol steps up and has his best game of the series, Norm Powell steps up, Freddie's closing the game with Danny even with their struggles, and this team closing out this kind of game?
Oh, man.
it means a lot. And, shout out to Norm just coming in, and just bringing us energy and just giving everything. Mark, the same, Fred, Serge, those guys came in and just fought the whole game. They calmed down. We just got to, that's what we did all season, man. We've been a team all season, and we always had that mentality. And just being at this moment, the highest stage, and having those guys step up and kind of sticking together at the end there, when we could, kind of got down on ourselves, but we didn't, and we fought through, and we're just glad that we was able to get a victory.
To Sirat, who's at the very back, Pascal on the right.
Sirat Sohi, Yahoo Sports. Was there anything specific that any of your teammates said to you after those free throws that stuck out, that helped you?
I think at that time, everyone was talking to you, but it's kind of hard to listen. You just kind of in the moment, and I just remember them talking to me, and I kind of tried to get out of it. But at the end of the game, Kawhi said that he played an hour of basketball, and I told him my bad. Yeah.
So do one last question in English here with Sean, and then we'll go to French.
Pascal, I'm just wondering, when you go up that high to block a shot, one, do you get nervous about how hard it's going to hurt when you get down there? And have you a chance to look at the replay and sort of see what you did there?
When you miss 2 free throws, to kind of ice the game, you don't think about how hard you're going to fall, I didn't think about it. I saw the play, and I just went for it, and I was kind of hesitant a little bit, but I just had to get there, make sure that he doesn't score it.
To Alex, here down to your left.
Pascal Alexandre Tournier de RDS. Tu as eu la chance de mettre fin au match au 4e quart, à la ligne, sans succès.
All right, so here is the lay of the land in the Eastern Conference Finals. Bucks leading 2-1. Game 4 Tuesday night on TNT at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can basically just get in an every other day rhythm on this series. 8:30 p.m. is the start time, Eastern Time, that is, on TNT. And the Bucks, get that victory in Game 1. Rusty in the first half. They play well in the second half. Game 2, they obliterated the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors get Game 3. Do they, Smitty, settle in Game 4 and get a big, comfortable victory, or do you think Milwaukee comes back with a mighty punch?
Well, I think, first of all, Toronto's happy. You can't go down 3-0. I think you got to still look about, worry about some injuries. I'm still worried about Serge, how much the limited minutes he played. Is it because he's in the doghouse, or was there some kind of injury for Serge Ibaka? So bodies for Toronto's is a concern for me. And the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they lost this game, had a chance. Double overtime without Giannis actually playing that well on the offensive end. He did rebound the ball. So I would say this is going to be a tough game. I give the advantage to the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 4.
Look, their bench was sensational tonight. You have 2 guys come off the bench and combine for 44 points from Milwaukee. You can't ask for much more than that, and they just obliterated Toronto's bench. Giannis will come back and have a big game because he's just that type of guy, and that's the reason why he's one of the finalists for MVP. If you simplify it into one thing, Milwaukee has to make shots next game. They're ganging up on Giannis and making it as tough as they can. They're saying, okay, we're going to continue to do that until the rest of you people make shots against us. So to say, look, we just got to be better at making shots. And the other thing is turnovers. They had 20 turnovers that led to 21 points, which is way too many giveaways.
Yeah, and Eric Bledsoe, Middleton, and Miritich 3 for 19 combined from the 3-point line. If it's not going, put your head down and shoot some mid-range shots and get to the bucket.
Coach Bud said that Giannis Antetokounmpo needs to play with more force in Game 4. It looked like he was playing with force tonight. What did Bud mean by that?
Well, I'm not sure, but I thought rebounding the ball, he was driving it. It was just a lot of bodies around him, and someone was called, someone wasn't. I think for him I would like to see him more in pick and roll situation, Coach. He's a screener, he rolls, and then he's playing with force with the basketball so they can't load up and have somebody else coming off the screen. But I think Eric Bledsoe, we got to find a way, if you're the Bucks organization, to have him step up, play a game where it's not all about scoring, making the right plays. He hasn't made a lot of the plays down the stretch. Sometimes it's a little bit, you scratch your head, Coach, what is he doing in these situations? He is so strong, so good. I would love to see him get into the paint and kick some more, get some guys some easier buckets.
In fairness, they might have had, and I'm talking about Milwaukee, 6 7 shots that were on the rim tonight that very easily could have gone in and rolled off. And all of a sudden you see Toronto come up with a possession, a rebound, and go back down again. Those little things add up, particularly in a double overtime game.
Double overtime win for the Toronto Raptors to save the season and give us a series in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, Game 4 coming up a couple of nights from now on TNT. So we take a break. We're going to be back as we continue coverage of this double overtime victory for the Toronto Raptors right here on NBA TV.